For early access to new episodes and other exclusive content, go to patreon.com/MiharuTheFox. Hey guys, it's Miharu and welcome back to SPYROCAST! Oh my gosh, we are back! This is episode 49, the second half of season 3, but guys, we're so back because the dragon has returned. And to help me celebrate this, I have with me...
Oh, hello. I am Marky Mark from the Funky Bunch. Hi, it's Destination Mark. I am so excited. He's back. He's back.
I know, right? Oh my gosh.
Like, I am still reeling from... I have to keep watching the trailer to remind myself, okay, it's not something that was going to happen and it got canceled, or, you know, we went through the whole ordeal with our packages and stuff. No, it's real. It's happening. It's coming out next year. I am beyond hyped.
I know, you have to remind yourself that it's real.
Like, it's actually happening.
That, I mean, it's not coming until next year, spring 2027, but still, it's real, and we're getting things.
No, for sure, for sure. I mean, Summer Game Fest in general, just to speak on that super briefly, had a lot of crazy announcements. I think this is one of the best years, 2026, for like video game announcements. There were crazy, like Rayman's returning, freaking all kinds of sequels to stuff that people didn't think were going to happen either anytime soon or like at all. Like the God of War thing threw a lot of people for a loop. There's just been so much recently, and I'm even reeling from that because, I mean, games outside of Spyro I wanted to see, like Stellar Blade and stuff. I'm like, oh my god, finally, yes, we're getting it, it's real. But Spyro, you know, despite knowing it was coming ahead of time, just what it was going to look like and what it was going to be about, those were the things that were like still some of the scariest, mysterious things none of us truly knew about. And so getting to see that, and it's not a lot right now, it's just a teaser, but with, you know, Pollyann and Lou Studdert kind of making their rounds now, going a little public about it, talking about certain aspects and things to kind of look forward to and to expect. It's freaking hype, like being able to like just go, yes, it is real. Yes, there's a lot of cool, crazy new things happening with this one, which we're going to get into, I'm sure. Like it's electrifying. It's like I've explained it like this: the buzz of being able to do like consistent content for Spyro back in the Reignited days. We're feeling that. I'm feeling that now, and the fact that like I've got ideas for videos to make like right out the gate. So many people retweeting posts and things that I've put out, either going into the hype or like how I posted myself with the treasure chest and everything. Like it's been getting a lot of buzz, and I'm starting to like hear from people I've never heard from before as just, you know, other huge lifelong Spyro fans, and making those connections and doing those little collabs and things. It's what they want us to like as part of Team Spyro kind of, you know, really get into with those connections and stuff, and like building memories with the game, hype for the game, and these little things with other people, other creators. It's just it's going to be back, basically. TLDR, right. It's going to be back.
Yeah, like people are coming out of hiding for this.
Exactly. Yeah, no,
it's just
true.
Like, oh my god, like people we haven't seen in like years now. It's just like, oh, Spyro's back, hello.
It's like coming out of your little hidey cave and squinting in the sunlight. The majesty that is Spyro, gliding down, paw out, reached outward.
Reached outward. Come with me. Take my hand. And then you ascend.
You ascend with him.
And then they're like, is this real?
And he whispers lustfully in your ear, no, when he drops you. No.
No.
That's the thing that's not happening again, thankfully. This is happening. There's a date. It's a little vague, but there is a date. That's just, you know, how you know. And I mean, even down to, again, we can say this, of course, in that package, we got it 2 days prior to the reveal trailer. And so, like, when we were looking through it and everything, I made a short out of the little recording I did of the both of us opening our packages. They gave us the name on that scroll. I'm like, oh my god, it's called The Realm Beyond. That's freaking sick. Like,
yeah, and that's how I knew, because like people were saying in the comments of my trailer reaction video, they're like, oh, did you know from like the font from like, you know, just the opening, and I was like, no, I knew the title. So when it said A Realm Beyond, like I was like, this is it. Oh my god.
Yeah, like back before we saw it, because I found out some people even saw the trailer like ahead of time, and I'm like, well, lucky them, Jesus. But with us just having the title to go off of, you know, 2 days prior, it got us thinking. Like the gears were turning, and I'm like, okay, so with all the fan speculation and rumors and hearsay and the hopes, the wants, the desires, what from just the title alone could we glean off this? It's still not much, but again, it just got you thinking. And then like when the trailer dropped, again, it's a teaser, not a whole lot. It's like a minute long, and the gameplay is only about 7 or so seconds. Not a lot to go off of, but with that combined with like how we've been starting to see now, like the slightly more detailed plot info on like the store and all that, the PS store and everything that again, like Paul and Lou have been talking about in the interviews. Now we're getting more of an idea of like what this is about, and that was the biggest thing again that was like so scary, was what is this going to be about? The fact that like with Crash, just to speak on that like very very briefly, like calling it Crash 4, it's like, okay, so it's a direct sequel, and they were very kind of upfront on what it was going to be about. Like, okay, we get to see the villains come out of their like hellish prison from the ending of Crash 3, so we have an idea. But with Spyro, like, and the fact that we're finding out now too, you know, Twisted Bob are trying to kind of be as transparent as they can be about like, you know, we just didn't want to work on Call of Duty and stuff, and it was keeping us from doing the games we want to do, and we have like we had multiple prototypes of us starting and restarting over like this project, trying to figure it out. Like with all of that in mind, it was hard for us as consumers, as fans, to like fully grasp what a new Spyro could be. And it was exciting because it meant anything could happen, but it was scary because it meant anything can happen. And so it's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, how do you narrow it down?
Right. We knew absolutely nothing going into this, and we still don't know much, but it was so different. Waiting for this was a completely different experience than like, you know, waiting for another Crash game or something, because with Spyro, you have no idea what direction it can go.
Yeah. I mean, even for Reignited back in the day, like once we saw that announcement trailer, even that excitement, I was rewatching some of my videos, like detailing like the hype of like, oh, reporting on, hey, someone received an egg from IGN. Oh, a bunch of other YouTubers and influencers are getting eggs. Oh shoot, Falcon McBob is this weird Twitter account with the tag Spyro the Dragon. Oh, it's unlocked and tweeting now. Oh, PS France teased a little Spyro thing for Easter. And then boom, April 5th, we got, the trailer. It also helped that a couple screenshots leaked like the night before. But
Yeah.
Point being, when Reignited was finally announced and we were like, oh shit, it's happening. After that, it was quite easy to expect things because it was a remake of the 3 games we grew up with. We knew what they were about and who was in them. We just needed to see at that point like what it was going to look like and how the games were actually going to play. That's where the mystique came from with Reignited. But with this, we didn't know anything. There was nothing to speculate. There was nothing to glean, nothing to, there were rumors like the next one's going to be open world, the next one's going to have this or that, but like we didn't know if it was actually true or not, and we wouldn't have known until the actual announcement happened. And now the actual announcement happened.
Yep. Yeah, it's still crazy that it is real. But I guess the question that I had was, what were your thoughts when you saw the trailer? Like, what were your initial thoughts? What was going through your head?
So what I like to do when I look at trailers is, especially for something I'm really hyped for, I try not to talk so much and just kind of take it in. And so in trying to like see where he was and what he was doing, and in trying to see like what the villain's deal was, part of my mind, I mean, it was clearly, if you watch the reaction back, it was kind of right down the middle where I was half like just squealing and shouting and trying not to cry. And then the other half was like, okay, where is he? Where is this? Like, what's happening here? How much are they actually giving us in the trailer? And so my initial thoughts were just like, again, first off, oh my God, shit, it's real. And then after that, it's just like, okay, so what's happening here in this game? Like, will it be enough information to finally have us start truly speculating and truly in a more clear direction than before? Because again, the stuff I was saying earlier about like maybe the next new Spyro will have free flight, maybe the next new Spyro will have this or that. Well, now that we've seen a bit of the gameplay and they've been talking about it, now it's like, okay, with this flight, this dragon flight in mind, what's that going to be like and how is it going to look? Because they've described it and it sounds sick as hell, but like I want to see that emotion now.
Yeah.
Recently, not to date this too much, but we did hear about, what are they called, the parakeets or something like that. That's what those little bird guys are called. And
parakeets,
they've said, oh, they're hard to catch, so are they going to be like thieves? Like, what's the purpose for catching them? So it's little things like that is going to like make the gameplay sound, it makes the gameplay already sound like fun, but it's just making my mind, everything from the trailer and back on the the question at hand, like it's just been making me think at like a rapid pace of like what's actually going on here in the game. So basically my thoughts of the trailer were just like, I'm so glad it's real. I'm so glad what I'm seeing looks good, sounds good, has a grand feel to it. Now it's just a matter of seeing like, is the quality of the cinematic here going to be how the cutscenes are actually going to look in game? And even though the footage was alpha, the gameplay, it still looked really sick. So it's only going to get better and look better from here.
Yeah. When I was, going through the trailer and like the first thing that really got me excited was the fact that we're getting a new villain.
Yes. Finally.
I'm just like, listen, I love Ripto, but a new villain is what I wanted. And whether it's going to be completely new or like a reimagined version of the Sorcerer is kind of what I'm thinking, just because that's kind of what it looked like to me. With Malefor's laugh, apparently, as people were saying. There's a lot of ways that could go.
No, seriously. Again, there is still that sense of like, okay, with what little, breadcrumbs they're handing out, it's not a lot to put any definitive stamp on what this or that could be, but it's getting us speculating, which is the fun part. Yeah, I've heard a lot of wacky shit. Like, yeah, it's some version of Malefor. It's some version of Cinder. It's like Ripto's master or something. I'm like, there's a lot of weird shit I've been hearing about that.
Yeah, what people were saying, it's Cinder. I'm like, I don't know but okay, because like the villain here looks like they're standing on two legs. Why would they randomly make Cinder bipedal?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just they're keeping this person really mysterious and really, really it's just vague as hell. Like we don't even know who's voicing the character. It's a deep, throaty laugh. Because I heard someone say, "Oh, it could be Cinder as the actual villain standing there, but like maybe that laugh comes from someone else and they're splicing it in to make us think one thing when it's actually another, just to keep the."
Yeah, people were saying that's Malefor's laugh. So I was like, did they take it from that? Because I don't remember. So like,
for multiple, because one of our friends I heard, he says it sounds like Mark Hamill. Of course, who obviously voiced Malefor in Legend of Spyro, but I'm like, you can tell his laugh. I mean, most of his laughs are iconic, but this one just sounds way too like, I wouldn't say generic evil villain laugh, but it's not. The voice itself does not stand out to me as any one voice actor. I couldn't just tell you, yes, it's Mark Hamill, like from the laugh alone. Like, yeah. I'm going to need more. We need more is the thing to actually have some kind of direction with that. But generally speaking, getting a new villain at all is like, one, so fucking sick. Two, a thing that, I, like a lot of people did want out of a new Spyro. That's one thing that we were not so much as speculating on, but it was like a hope. Like people have asked us in streams and stuff, like, what do you want to see in a new Spyro whenever it happens? This is like way back then. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see a new villain. I want to see like something that puts a stamp on, this is a brand new thing. It's a brand new experience. We're kind of moving outside of the original trilogy, outside of the previous games that came before, but like it's still cemented in the classic timeline, I guess, you could say. And this is that. Realm Beyond is that, because Spyro's a little older, but it's still the same classic Spyro we know. They've made it a thing to say and confirm that. And the wording on like the scroll we got and kind of in their like more generic descriptions of the game on, again, like certain pages on like either their blog or like the PS Store or whatever, they tend to say it's the first new Spyro in nearly 20 years. And if they
Yes.
really wanted to call this like a Spyro 4 or whatever, I'm sure they would have specified the dialogue more or their phrasing more to say that, to reflect that, to be like, it's the first new Spyro game since his original adventures, or like something, or even just flat out, it's the next game after Year of the Dragon. Like they would have said something like that, and they didn't. They said it in a very general sense. It's his first new game in 20 years. So
Yeah, like it could take place at any time in the classic timeline.
that's what it sounds like to me. And that's where I've coined the term distant sequel, which just essentially means, for those who don't know what the hell I'm talking about, a game or some kind of, like standalone adventure like this that can kind of like draw inspiration from the games that came before. It will definitely reference most of the franchise and stuff that came before, but it's not directly like the direct sequel to the last game that came before it. I'll always cite, Sonic Frontiers and Mario Odyssey and like Ratchet Rift Apart as like primary examples of that. And this feels like that, which is what I wanted too.
Yeah, definitely feels like that. All right. So, what are some of the most important things that you think the final product of this game should have?
Oh, that's a good question. So definitely the essence of Spyro, which is already A, part of this trailer, B, something they've already spoken about. So what I mean by that is, as we've already kind of talked about, what the essence of like the classic trilogy and how this seems to be taking inspiration, of course, from it, and also to Toys for Bob's, last full Spyro project being reignited. So they were very intimate with the original Insomniac games, even speaking to Insomniac members to be like, hey, how does this look? Does his jump feel right to you? Does it look right to you? Does the speed of his charge look right? Like little technical things like that needed to be okayed so they can try and keep the experience for us like as fluid and as familiar as before. I mean, they made a whole thing called Spyroscope to get that stuff down as close as they could. But not just on a technical standpoint, on more of the feel, like just everything from the visual and auditory stuff, the music, the aesthetics and stuff, very fantasy, very still kind of with that punk attitude that Spyro's known for. It I'm sure is going to stay with this game, but I also want that feel to kind of flow into the gameplay, since of course the biggest thing they're doing with the gameplay is Dragonflight, and they've already specified things like, oh, you can like just leap off of, well, first off, you can actually go from the ground into flight, then you're going to do things to keep yourself in the air, to get to higher places or further out, spots. But also you can like dive off of stuff and kind of take
that's
flight
gonna
from
be my
there.
favorite.
That's gonna be sick. I think the coolest thing for me is they said you can chain climbing, jumping off, and flying. So like that's gonna be insane. You're climbing like a big cliffside, and then you just leap off backward and just floom, like pull the wings out and just go into flight. Oh, it's gonna be so sick. It's gonna be so sick. It's just ways of getting around, and it's the essence of being a dragon, which Spyro 1 was trying to capture and did capture. Like that was Insomniac's whole thing about going into Spyro when they were creating it. Like, okay, so our character is a dragon. What can a dragon do? Well, he's got wings. We're gonna have him fly around and glide. What can he do with his horns? We'll make him ram enemies that way. And this game's asking the question, how do we elevate that further? And because Spyro's never flown like this before in the classic stuff, they felt it was the next natural evolution. And for the stuff they seem to be promising, it sounds fucking sick. Like, I'm really excited.
Yeah, so what do you say to those people who are concerned that having free flight might ruin the experience in some way, as in like, oh, if you could just fly anywhere you want, what's the point of like platforming and where's the challenge?
So what I can say personally is we can put that to rest. Lou and Paul Yan have said that, and especially Lou, he has been talking about the gameplay like a lot in interviews and stuff, and he's trying to make it very well known that Dragonflight is an extension, first and foremost, of Spyro's already existing toolkit of abilities. It's not going to replace anything, and it's not going to take the sole forefront of what this game's identity is going to be gameplay-wise. It's more so going to complement everything else he can do. Like I said before, they've already said you can like start climbing off of like, well, climbing already, we know that was a Spyro 2 thing. So like to climb a bunch of different high, like I'm going to think like towers. They said like jumping off aqueducts and stuff, but like climbing like maybe like big trees or like cliff sides, and then like while in mid climb, being able to jump off, like leap backward and unfurl your wings and start flying around. Like that's gonna be fucking sick. And the flight, from what I'm seeing in the trailer, from what little we have in the trailer, and what it sounds again like they're saying we can do, I think the free flight primarily is going to be more so a tool to get to higher spots or further away spots. It's not going to completely replace Spyro's traditional platforming, because Lou has already confirmed that the traditional platforming is still very much intact. That is 100% confirmed that it's very much intact. If I had to guess, you probably start the game running around doing classic, traditional Spyro stuff. Gems are still on the ground and things. We're going to be collecting gems, doing things like that, torching enemies, like, same old familiar Spyro stuff.
And then the villain comes in and says, nobody wants to do that anymore. They want this. Sorry.
Oh, is that a little bit of banjo we're doing?
Sorry, nuts and bolts.
Collect as many pointless things as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, Spyro gets fat. That Chungus Spyro mod, yeah, that's real.
Chungus Spyro is real. That's how it starts off, yeah. That's how the game starts.
John Toys for Bob told me himself.
Yeah. John Microsoft.
John Bob, 2 first names.
Yeah. You start off as Chungus Spyro, and then you go around collecting stuff, and then the villain comes in and says, nobody wants that anymore. They want guns. And shooting things. Then Spyro gets a gun.
They put a little gun in Spyro's little hand. No, but for real, the free flight is a means to get around in a very unique way. I like to see it as, I said this in my plot details video that I made on my channel, in the same way that those of you who have played Mario Odyssey, the big thing is hats in that game, and Cappy being such an important part of Mario's moveset in that game. You use Cappy to, jump and get to other areas and do stuff, in very unique ways, and the capture mechanic to use the enemies to your disposal and to get around the terrain better and stuff. So that was how you navigated those big worlds in that game. And with Sonic Frontiers, they really, really utilized and fine-tuned Sonic's speed and the traditional like rail grinding malarkey and stuff to be able to like run around and do things in Sonic Frontiers. And it was fun. For one, if anyone who's watching or listening to this knows me and knows my stance on Sonic, I found Frontiers legitimately a ton of fun. I really like that game. And that's how I felt about being able to run around as Sonic in that game. It was actually really fun, and his speed was utilized in a very good way. So likewise here, it's the flight, it's Spyro's wings, it's being able to actually fly around in these big areas and get to, again, higher points you can't get to otherwise, or further stuff way out in the distance on some like Breath of the Wild nonsense. I only say that in the sense of them going, hey, see that mountain way out over there? Yeah, you can get to that. Like, I feel it's going to be one of those types of situations. Not to say it's going to be completely open world. I don't know about that. We don't have confirmation on that. But these areas are in fact very big. One thing I did hear is we might not have the traditional portal to other levels system. It might be more interconnected on in the likes of Jack or like Hero's Tale.
See, I like that. I mean, I'm gonna miss the portals because I feel like that's it's such a big part of Spyro. But as long as they still have it for like maybe challenge areas.
That's what I was thinking. I don't think they're going to do away with portals entirely. Yeah, that is such a like intricate thing, an integral, like very iconic element of Spyro as a franchise, gliding through portals to get to other places. If they just use the like traditional Spyro 1, 2, 3 like homeworld portal system rather than like that funky little like purpley Spyro 3 transitionary system, I think the portals would feel a bit more magical.
Yeah.
For like going into like challenge areas or whatever.
Yeah, because like the big part about it was not knowing what was coming. Like you would see the portal just with the name of the level, but you would have no idea what's inside there. And I think maybe a little bit of that is going to be lost if they get rid of that. But I still think that there's a way to have the levels in this world be interconnected and it still feel like fresh and new when you go to another section of the world.
Yes.
Like you unlock another section and then like maybe there's a little cutscene that shows you like, you know, the expanse out there in like great detail and like, you know, it's just this beautiful like panning shot or something.
Yeah. Actually, I do want to speak to that real quick because even before knowing what this was, hearing people say they wanted free flight, that got me thinking. And now I'm going to speculate full on. This could still probably be the case. And if it is, it'd be super sick to have those transitions. How I said before, I'm not sure if this game is going to be full open world, like one giant Breath of the Wild style location. A lot of people kind of don't want that for Spyro, and I can see why. It would be a little weird with those challenges and platforming challenges and things in mind. That could being able to fly could, in a big open Breath of the World styled sense, that could diminish the meaning of some of the platforming. But if they handle, I mean, really, if they just kind of handle it like Sonic Frontiers, I could see that working a lot better because Sonic Frontiers is segmented on like 5 or so different giant ass islands. And for him, he's still earthbound because he can't fly, but he uses like, you know, the mid-air stuff is delegated to like the rail grinding and stuff because all that shit's like in midair. For Spyro, he can fly. So instead of, you know, rail grinding and whatever, he can fly to wherever. So that's how they can contain it that way. When you transition from one island to the next, it would be really sick if you could fly there and you play that. It would be like Legend of Spyro. That would be so fucking sick. That'd be so cool.
And we already know that it's not going to be just like one world with like that looks the same throughout the whole thing because in that trailer, like in the cinematic, we saw like a village and then like a desert area. And then in the gameplay, we saw some like, you know, really beautiful ruins. So I think it's still all going to look different, even if they're all connected.
Plus the villain's lair is like, this is not on top of a cliffside. I think it's the whole ass mountain. So, you know.
Yeah, it's like in the stormy sky.
Yeah, you know, on some, again, Legend of Spyro, like, new beginning nonsense, you're going to start the base, and you're going to make your way up the tower. Like, you know that's how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really cool.
And actually, I thought that was one of the coolest looking areas in Eternal Night was, like, the final area.
Yeah.
Like, I love the look of that place.
It does, the shot that you love from the trailer of the villain's like lair, it does give off vibes like that. The giant crystal holding being held by chains up in the very top and like all that stuff. Like, I want to know what that crystal's all about because apparently it seems like that has some kind of relevancy, especially because the villain, you get a really close up of with the villain looking at it. And you can see behind him, well, I guess in front of him, in the background of the shot, it's kind of blurred for the depth of field, but the chains are going like from out of frame into frame and it's holding the crystal up. So clearly this dude has this crystal and he's using it for whatever nefarious purposes to I guess, take control of whatever this realm is. Yeah. So again, you can kind of see, we can kind of glean some stuff from what we're seeing. It's not a lot, but it's making us really hype. It's so fun to do this again. And the fact that we're doing it off of something that's completely new that we don't know about, that we're excited to find out if we're right or wrong. Like it's electrifying. I fucking love it.
Yeah, got that spark again. Sparks. Oh. Speaking of sparks, Yeah, let's go into that. So people were understandably a bit worried by the lack of sparks in that trailer. They're like, I didn't see him. Where is he? Is he still going to be the health bar? So what do you think about that?
I did think about this for a while, and I'm like, yeah, if we start the game with no sparks, that's going to be extremely interesting. And I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure it out in my mind and trying to think about this to make some logical sense out of it. But like, I'm like, okay, they wouldn't like have sparks maybe like with you at the start, doing the traditional like he's the health system, only to take him away and introduce like an alternate health system, only for eventually you to bring him back. And then, I mean, that's going to be really odd. So I'm still trying to wrap my head around how that's going to work. Otherwise, I mean, it could be just as cut and dry as giving him a health bar, a la fucking like the Legend series. But like, as far as story and stuff goes, them saying, in the descriptions, Spyro's stranded. He has to get back to his friends. He has to find his way home. I think you even said in one of your videos, his friends are likely going to work together to bring him back. Now they could do an A/B story thing with this, maybe to introduce the multiple playable character aspect in this game. Maybe they'll take what they learned from Crash 4 with the playable characters and the alternate kind of like perspectives with the same events kind of happening, where like Spyro's off doing one thing and then we kind of cut afterward to like, oh, so what's like, say, Hunter or whoever, where are they at? What are they doing? Maybe that's how that could work. Or alternatively, and what I think might be what ends up happening a bit more, if they're not playable, because we're speculating, hopefully Hunter, Alora, Bianca show up. Maybe they're like kind of, because everyone's separated, Sparks included. First, I'll say I think that Sparks might be the first friend we reunite with. And if we're going to be reuniting with friends and maybe having to save them from like some enemies or whatever, that also kind of is like Sonic Frontiers, because like the first island, you find Amy. The second island is Knuckles. Third island is Tails. It also kind of reminds me on a weird comparison to make, Pac-Man World 1, where every world you go to, there's a new friend you have to save, like Professor Pac, Pac Dog or whatever, Miss Pac-Man.
Yeah.
It might feel like that, where like Sparks is the first one, then like you'll find Hunter and then like Alora or something.
Yeah, that could be that too.
But again, it's up in the air, so it could go in any of these directions or maybe a whole other direction that we're not thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know, because it did say that Spyro was going to have to make new allies. So
yes,
I'm thinking that new characters are probably going to play a big part as well.
That's where I'm like, okay, are these guys playable? Are there, because like, you think back to Spyro 3 and how the critters for that time, all those dudes were brand spanking new. To introduce like 4 or whatever new characters like entirely, it's like, whoa. And they're all playable. Since then, they kind of calmed down because like Hero's Tail had Blink. He was the only real newcomer, but was still playable. So if we're thinking multiple playable characters, then maybe, again, like his friends are familiar, characters are trapped. Spyro finds out about this, tries to do everything he can to help them, is a little kind of helpless to do so because he doesn't know how, and then meets these new guys that are playable that can kind of help him, maybe, or something. And we're only really speculating that there are multiple playable characters at this point, since they've been putting so much focus on Spyro and his Dragonflight ability. That's the way Spyro is really, really going to be getting around the world, but that doesn't really rule out that he's the only playable character. I do have an alternate scenario when we get to it later, I think, whenever we do, about that whole situation. But as far as speculating about multiple playable characters, it can either go, really, since we don't know, that returning dudes like Hunter and Alora will be playable, or these new guys might be playable, or also they could just be NPCs that go around and you have to meet up with them in different areas around these big worlds. And for example, like, oh, maybe something is happening in some very specific part of like this like first island or wherever, so you meet this new guy who's like, help me out over here and I can help you do this, and then you go help him, and then he's like, all right, some nonsense is happening over here now, let's go that way, and then we kind of follow him out that way. And You know what I mean? So like more as an NPC type, like
Yeah.
helper character instead of like an actual playable character themselves. It could go any of those routes. I don't know. Pure speculation territory right here.
Right. And then there's the other side of it because, like I said, Spyro is stranded in this new world. So, not even thinking about the other characters for right now, I thought that could mean it was going back to the style of the first game a little bit. Where it
Yes.
feels a little more isolated. And, you have some characters there to like help you, but for the most part, you're alone, and it feels a lot more like daunting,
Yes, absolutely.
And I've always kind of liked that.
No, for sure. We've had multiple videos across both our channels, and you've told me numerous times how the first game, it is that feeling. And again, even looking back at behind the scenes, like PlayStation Underground stuff for like the first Spyro from Insomniac, they say as much that like, yeah, you're a little guy on a big adventure. You don't get much help, but the dragons you save will give you tips. But it's up to you to get from point to point, to collect the gems, to beat the bad guys, to defeat the bosses, to get to Nasty. And like, if they're trying to invoke that for this, oh my god, yes. Because personally, I love the first game the most out of the original trilogy. I love all three games. All three of them come with different little things and whatever, but like the first one, it also helps that, of course, the first game was the first Spyro game I ever played. But like, I love just being able to run around in the big worlds, having these big like expanses you have to glide across to get to certain, to point and all that. And like, it does kind of seem like that's what they're going for this as well. And it could very well be that too. Maybe there aren't any other real playable characters and you are just Spyro. And at that point, it kind of feels, again, comparatively to something like Sonic Frontiers, where you're only playing as Sonic, but you're going through these big worlds that you've never been to before and trying to make sense of them and finding out the lore of these places and what's happening and why the bad stuff's happening here. And it's going to be so cool. But if that's the direction they go for, I mean, it's hard to say, but that is one very valid aspect about it too.
Yeah. So these new allies, do you think that Cinder could potentially be one of them?
Ooh, Cinder being in this at all from the get-go, again, with people just saying, before we knew any of this stuff, for years, people have been saying, along with the free flight and what have you, that they've been wanting to see Cinder return, specifically Cinder. I mean, I've heard Ember and Flame and stuff too, but Cinder specifically. And if your videos are anything to freaking go off of, even your like community polls on your channel, anytime Cinder pops up, people freaking vote for her like mad.
Yeah.
So clearly the Cinder fan base is well aware of you, and whenever you mention and talk about Cinder and do videos, they show up. Build it, make it, and they will come. So like,
I got so many questions in my stream earlier where it was just like, hey, do you think Cinder will be in the new game? Like, Strife was making a joke. He's like, we can make a drinking game out of how many times you've been asked that question today.
I love that just so many people now are coming to us and coming to you, just asking questions. Like the fact that we were part of teams, I'll get to this in your question in a minute, I swear, but like with the Team Spyro thing and everything, with Team Spyro, being able to show off all that stuff, and then people now coming to us being like, okay, so what do you think of this? And have you heard of anyone saying anything about like this aspect? Or it's been fun to speculate and talk with people. But the whole Cinder thing, again, yeah, it's very prevalent. So like, to please that side of the fan base, it's gonna be tough. I'm not actually too sure what the majority thinks of how Cinder's more like kind of wacky side was sort of explored in Skylanders Academy. Because I know people fell in love with like the very like kind of edgy Cinder from Legend, but
yeah,
with her being such a fan favorite, I wouldn't put it past Toys for Bob. I mean, obviously they're aware, because they're aware of a lot of stuff that we want and that we love and that we see and that we want to see and whatever. So I'm sure they're more than aware of people wanting to see Cinder return. And again, with Skylanders already doing that, and shit, I think that was Toys for Bob's decision, considering as early as the first Skylanders game, she's in there. So clearly they saw the potential of having her come, out of the rebooted kind of saga era and like bring her into this thing and kind of redefine her and recontextualize her a bit. Only for Academy to go, yo, we're gonna give her a full arc and like Malefor's back and shit, and Dark Sparrow's there, and like, so clearly Legend left a lot of an impact on the Skylander side. It has yet to leak into the classic stuff, because us who are more classic heads for Spyro are very vocal about what we love about classic Spyro and what we want to see like changed up from classic Spyro. That's the realm where kind of sticking in classic Spyro. So to bring Legend elements into classic Spyro, now I'm not going to rule it out because this storyline seems to be, they seem to be gearing up to be telling a slightly darker storyline, with how sinister the villain looks, with how Spyro looks really, really determined to beat this guy, to get to that scary location. The location looking the way it does at all to begin with.
Yeah. Can we talk about the emotional depths?
The emotional depth. This is not our wording. That's Toys for Bob's wording. This villain is going to... That sounds like Resident Evil Requiem. They said Leon will be pushed to his limits in this game. Like, what? Is Spyro going to get freaking Raccoon City Syndrome? Like, is Sparks going to die? What's happening here? What do you mean, Toys for Bob?
This is actually happening. The villain is going to kill Sparks. They are taking a page from the Spyro 2 manga, in which Ripto, he doesn't kill Sparks, but he fries him, and it kind of looks like he's dead for a moment. It's really funny. He's like, I'm going to the other side. You must help me save Zoe, my girlfriend, who I have a crush on in this iteration for some reason. Yeah. But, I mean, that's just our silly, dumb joke of why Sparks isn't with Spyro. But to challenge Spyro on that level... I don't know what they mean by that or what they're gonna... Well, that makes me think that it's another dragon. Like, that's, maybe. Which would make sense if it's the sorcerer or a character that's, based on him. And the reason why, too, let's also say real quick, the reason why you're so adamant on having, like, the sorcerer kind of be the inspiration for this, if not, it being him outright or whatever, and this darker feel, is because Shadow Legacy, which was the last in the classic timeline before this game, kind of already set that vibe up. And you said that in your Shadow Legacy video that I edited for you. Yeah. Like, it kind of teed up the tone and feel for Legend to go a little darker, which is what it did. And like it Spyro, and again, it lends to the darker fantasy elements that Spyro never really explored much of. Like, there were hints of it in Spyro 3 with like Bianca's character arc and the sorceress being a more darker villain than the previous two. So like having a villain now that seems to be on a sort of, similar sinister level. But the fact that they described him as being one to really challenge Spyro on that emotional level, like, what the fuck does that mean? What does that even mean? Like, oh my god, like Ripto hasn't even been able to do that, okay? I mean, the only thing I can think of, because I don't think anyone's ever really done this before, is they're going to torture his friends in front of him. Not in some, like, harsh way, but in a very cartoony way. Like, they'll probably be zapping their essence, taking their life juice or some shit, and Spyro's kind of held down a little and he can't do anything about it. And they're like, give yourself up, Dragon, or else your guys are gonna... I'm gonna cry. If a Spyro game makes me cry, like, not just seeing... the trailer for something and be like, oh my god, we got a new game, like that kind of cry, but like actually the story making me cry. If that happens, oh my god, it's over. New favorite game. Well, see, and that resonates with you so much because Spyro 3 already made you feel that way. Spyro 3 got you so invested in the characters with Bianca's arc and stuff, and the fact that like the stakes in that game for that trilogy at that time were so risen up that it made it feel more elevated than the other two. And not to, say the other two didn't feel epic or with, some kind of stakes in their own way. It's just that those were played way more silly and cartoony. And this, while still kind of, Spyro 3 rather, while still kind of in that boat, again, Sorceress saying, kill them if you want, I don't care. I'm taking the baby dragon's wings. Yeah, I'll crush them and destroy them and doing that. And, that whole scene. It was arguably a little darker for the PS1 era. And the fact that they're going to kind of seemingly pull from that and other darker Spyro elements for this, like, shit. Like, what are they going to do? That's the only thing I can think of is torturing his friends in front of him to make him give himself up
because maybe Spyro's like essence of whatever is stronger than his friends, but they caught his friends first, so they're using them as bait for Spyro. That's the only thing I can think of, like, logically. But if that's not what it is, then I don't know.
It should have been me, not them.
Like, again, it could go anywhere. There's still room for speculation, and that's what makes it so fun. And so, like, I'm still kind of scared. Like,
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh, this is so fun. It's so
This
fun.
is so fun.
I'm so fucking happy to just be able to be in the space again where we can just go, what are they doing with this one in the best possible way? Like, oh my God.
Yeah. We live for this.
We live for this. I need to see more. I want to play it. I want to play the flight. I want to feel how it feels.
I know. Okay. Well, I think we're going to end it there.
Oh, man.
This was so fun being back on SPYROCAST. Oh my God.
Yeah, the third time reigning returnee or whatever. I always love talking Spyro, obviously, and the SPYROCAST is it's such a testament, I think, to the like lastability of this franchise, because you started this podcast series when you rebooted yourself into a Spyro channel, and I was like the fifth guest on, and like seeing all these other people that we've met and become friends with along the way, and even people who just wanted to be on to talk about Spyro. We haven't really heard from them since, but that's what this kind of podcast is for. It's being able to share the stories, share the experiences, and finally now with a new game, just being able to talk and speculate and get back into the buzz of like, holy shit, there's a new Spyro. Let's freaking talk. Like,
yes.
I love it. Thank you again for having me on. It's so good.
All right. Well, before we end, plug your stuff.
Okay, real quick again for those who might be finding this particular episode for the first time. Hi, I'm Destination Mark. Not only Miharu's silly little boyfriend, but also editor sometimes for the channel. I also have obviously my own channel. I do Crash content, Spyro content. Now I'm doing a lot of Spyro content. I talk and play about and play other games as well. And we stream, we have fun, we talk, we speculate, we review games. I've got my own Crash theme podcast that was inspired by this one. That will be also coming back for Crash's 30th. But right now it's Spyro time. The fact that they drop a new Spyro game on Crash's 30th is fucking insane.
That's very funny, and I love it.
But yeah,
now who's getting overshadowed?
Oh God, okay. But if you want to see any more Spyro stuff from a different perspective from someone else, I am that someone else. I would very much appreciate if you came to the streams and watched the videos. That's about it.
All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. As always, don't forget to subscribe for more casual gaming content, and I will see you on the next SPYROcast. Until then, this is Miharu, signing off.